upstairs and downstairs, so we'll see how it works out. So the plan is still be able to do the show conveniently and workable with quiet space to do it in.
Yep. It's one of the things about going live. There can be ambient sounds.
They can indeed.
Well, here we are again. It must be Thursday. The newsstreamingnetwork.com, WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcast #1 internet singles talk network. And this is Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry. Hi, Barry.
Hi, Christine.
So I kept wondering if people have thought about this question this way. We're going to help them think about it this way. So today we're talking about how effective are your dating choices? Yeah. And that could be where you're looking, what your criteria is that you're looking, how you're talking to people, how you're vetting them. I mean, there's just so many levels to choosing.
And one of those things as well is how attached are you to the same way of doing things that isn't working for you? Because the thing is, I mean, I know we're talking about a lot of things today, but we'll also present you, I'm sure, with several things you've never even thought about before that may help you approach dating from a much more, what's the word I'm looking for? Excited? No, just positive place. Because the thing is, one of the things just to start the ball rolling is some people almost look at dating as a fear-based process, either desperation or nervousness or even they're just afraid they're going to lose out again. The mindset if we walk into the arena of dating is unsupportive. So there's a lot to this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And how are you figuring out how you're going to choose? Is it how you were raised, which is often very unconscious? Is it been your previous experiences, which is a little more conscious, but we still don't know what to do about it? Is it what you've heard from other people? It was so interesting. I had a client yesterday, and she has this abundance of generally happily married couples around her. I said, that is so unique. So her job, one of her homeworks this week is to go interview them about how they've gotten through the tough times, what made them initially attracted to each other, how did they meet? Because people are at least 10 years out. That's my criteria. I mean, it's great if they're even longer. To ask them, what kind of choices did you make along the way while you were looking for somebody, when you met this person, and while you've been together? And I think that the foundation gets started when you're dating as to how you're going to figure out your choices and then voice them to the other person and see how do they react, right?
Yeah, that's a really genius, and it's really easy to do because you don't have to go study books. You just simply can ask people questions, which is so much better.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing
I get permission all the time to ask really nosy questions when I tell people what I
Absolutely. There's one thing I want to say because I want to go to the other end of the spectrum for a moment, because it's like I want to sort of bookend this thing. One is about how to go the long term, but also, and we talked about this before in other episodes, how comfortable are you being single? Are you looking to date from a place of desperation because you don't want to be single, as an aversion to that, or are you looking for a place of adding to into your life? I had a meme that I saw that I posted today on social media saying about that yes, I'm looking for a relationship. However, I'm not looking for a relationship to avoid something or to disown being single. It's about I'm looking for a relationship and I'm okay being single. In fact, if I want to be in a relationship, it's got to be additive to that. So the question I'm asking anybody, if you're listening to this or watching this, how comfortable are you being with your own company that a relationship has to add to that, not fill up something you think you're missing?
Boy, that is such a mouthful. Because often, when people are writing in their profiles, they're talking about, well, what would one of my questions I ask them on my questionnaire is how would dating make your life different? How would being in a relationship make your life different? And they often will say happier, and I'll be doing more things. So I know that part of the coaching is going to be is how could you make yourself happier, and what kinds of things are you not doing yet that you could now do? Because if you want to do things with people, then go do things with people, and you'll meet people that are doing those things.
Exactly. Yeah, we talked about that in another episode about the where to meet people stuff. So this is the thing. Why? Because some people I know have been through this, and I did it for myself a long time ago. Was I'd be waiting to do things for when I have, when I have a relationship, then I'll do these things. Like, that was ridiculous. Why wait till I have somebody else in my life? Do it myself. I'm the one who wants to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So let's just go do it.
Yeah. So often when people are listening to our podcast, it's because they don't know what to choose, or what they're choosing isn't working. If you've had the same wrong thing happen over and over, then reevaluating how you're choosing people, what you're showing to them so that they could choose you or not. I think that's equally important, to be transparent about who you are. So to start out with, what do you need and want? I mean, we harp on this so many times. What is it that you need to enhance your life with another person in it? And it's amazing how there are a big pocket of people right now in our age group over 50 who want somebody just to do something with. They want to go to the movies. They want to go to dinner. They want to go golfing and pickleball. And they really want a new friend. Now, some of them out loud will say it would be nice if it developed into something else, and be really clear that this is what you're saying you want right now. You want somebody to go do things with. So how do you choose them? You don't choose them just because they're cute. That doesn't mean they want to go play golf or pickleball or go to dinner or the movies.
Yeah, that is an interesting.
Because that's often how we choose. It's often, do I have all this chemistry with them? I talked to a widows group on Zoom a couple times a month, and it was interesting how this woman said, I've gone out one date with 4 different men, and I didn't have a connection. So I said, well, talk about what connection means to you. I want to hear your definition, because generally I want to feel physical attraction to them. I want to feel butterflies. And she did say that. And I said, and there's nothing wrong with that. It can't be the only thing, though, because what happens if that's the only thing, if it's the biggest thing, it overshadows, well, do you have beliefs in common? Do you have activity level in common? Do you have the things how you want to spend your time enough in common? And if you're all only looking at their cute, you're not going to ask, how do you spend Sunday? Do you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go running? Do you like to lay in bed and read the newspaper? Do you like doing something more in the afternoon? Are you more a person that's active in the evening? And lots of these questions are not necessarily deal breakers. They certainly need to be taken into consideration. If you're not a 5 o'clock get up and run, and that's the kind of partner they want, then you're not probably going to be a match. But if they're fine coming back and you've made breakfast, then it might work out. But you need to ask about questions so that you're making educated choices.
Yeah, in fact, one way of putting it is that chemistry does not mean compatibility.
Oh, that is so true. We should have T-shirts with that. We need T-shirts and mugs.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh my God, that is so true, Barry. That is just ding, 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 ding. Because we want to believe it does. Well, gosh, if I have all these physical feelings, all these physical reactions, then we must be compatible. No.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, absolutely. That's the thing, and that's the challenges that people do. I won't say low. It's not lower the bar. It's more about the fact is that people only look at one through one lens, and there's the challenge is because we've been raised that way. It's like all the movies do that sort of stuff, and the thing is. I'm thinking of any movies where they really did the whole picture, where they said, okay, there's excitement and there's connection, there's chemistry, and there's also compatibility. These things, because that's the thing. And we talked about this in previous episodes again, about do the things you love with other people. And as you said earlier in this episode, where you meet people who do the same thing you are. And then on top of that, there might be chemistry. That's a smarter way of doing it.
Yeah. So, yes, you need to be thinking about what kind of physical things you like in people. And it's not just how they look. It's also their activity level, their philosophy about activity level. I mean, it really is a whole ball of wax about physicality. And then you also need to very clearly talk about the mental, emotional, and spiritual part of who they are. And is it a match for you? Or is it at least okay enough? Is it interesting? Wow, I never thought about it that way. Because if it's absolutely no, it's absolutely no, no matter how cute they are.
And the thing is, it's interesting. I mean, it's something I've noticed for myself a couple of times where I've crossed paths with women who I had a lot of chemistry with. It was like excitement, a lot of titillation. I'll use that word. And then, and because I've had the experience of this so many times, and having this sense of self-management where I'll just simply just witness and observe rather than jumping right in. And then I start noticing like behind the curtain sort of thing, where I go, what was I thinking? It's like, because that chemistry can be so overwhelming that it blurs everything else. And when that time passes, because sometimes it can pass very quickly, and then settle down, you start looking at the person going, that doesn't make any sense. So it's such a key to recognize that there's more to the story here. So definitely, yes, chemistry is great, but it's part of a much bigger picture.
Yes. And often for women, when we have a lot of chemistry, a lot of physical attraction to a man, this hormone fog happens. We tend to put on rose-colored glasses. We tend to not see the red flags. And we, in addition, overthink. Ooh, would he be okay if I say this or do that? I don't want him to leave because he's so cute. So I'm going to stop being who I really am.
Ooh.
We stop being our authentic self. That is the most immediate thing that 90% of the time happens when we get super physically attracted to a guy. We start altering who we really are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're not choosing somebody that's going to like your authentic self. You're not choosing somebody that would be okay. Now, maybe they might be. That's the thing I tell them. Then say it in a nice way. Say it, do it, and then watch. Maybe they don't like it. Maybe it is a deal breaker for them. And isn't that good to know, even though they're cute?
Right.
Yeah. And we make that choice frequently. And then it's so funny to them because they'll say, we started dating. She was like this and now she's like this. And I don't understand. And I said, and when there's some really specific things we start doing. And I said, it's because she likes you a lot. And that just makes their head hurt because you tend to just put your best foot forward from the beginning. And yes, you don't tell everybody everything in the beginning. You generally don't alter yourself in this major way like women do. Men don't. I haven't seen men do huge alterations like we do.
Huge
You're showing us more of who you are later.
Yeah. We do. I think generally speaking, for us men, we do have a level of best foot forward, and then you don't want to see what's behind it yet. Mm-hmm. We take our time. But I know one thing that can happen for men, and we talked about, I know we talked about this before too, that because we are in the way that we're built in the masculine archetype, is that we are goal oriented, and so we pursue and we attract, and when we get the goal, some part of us sometimes checks out after that, because there's a part of us that goes, I've got the prize, I can relax now. And so our effort in the relationship can sometimes lower itself after we've become in committed relationship, because we can relax now. And sometimes it's a pain because the woman's like, where's the guy who was like goal oriented, getting things done and making things happen? He just checked out. And so there's keys on both sides of the conversation where both partners need to remember who they are and what they're about in that relationship, because things change.
So isn't that a really important conscious choice to make, to keep dating each other?
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, when a man has a goal and you really understand the return that you want on your investment of time, energy, and money, and you get the return, then you're going to see, if I keep giving the same effort, am I going to get the same effort in return? Because I've seen women do the same thing. They stop doing the things that they did to woo the guy, to have the guy keep wanting to be around. So if they both keep doing the same things with the same honor and the same intensity, keeps coming up, but that's not the right word. I mean the same commitment, to do the same things with the same commitment, because it doesn't have to be the same intensity, but that you're nice to each other, that you think about what would they like, and you say thank you, and you say please, like hopefully you did when you were dating. It will help the man now think, oh, I want to keep doing that because I like this reaction. So I don't know the chicken or the egg. I think a lot of times it's the women first who gets a little more relaxed. but if both people start pulling back, then the other person pulls back and everybody pulls back more. That if the other person keeps being forward, it encourages the other person to be forward. So when you're dating somebody, see, how is that dance working? Are you both taking turns being the person that makes plans? Are you both taking turns doing something nice for the other person? Is it a good give and take? Then it could set the foundation to be a good give and take as you're getting into a more committed relationship.
Yeah, that's the key. And that this is the dance of that ongoing experience of dating. And this is the thing, is that we're talking about how effective your dating choices, but also how effective is your dating process, because that's what we're talking about here as well, because it's not just the first date, it's beyond that and how you continue the relationship. I know that there are couples, and we talked about this recently, about how couples oftentimes will set up like a date night and you said this, I remember, because we were both interviewed in another podcast, talking about how they had a State of the Union in the relationship as well. So the relationship conversation, but that was separate. But the date night, which, especially if you've got kids, if you have kids, it behooves you to remember that you're a romantic couple. Because a lot of times when the kids take over the energy of the relationship, there's no room for the couple to be individually, romantically, sexually connected, because the kids take priority, understandably. If you can establish a set up routine, ideally once a week, but at least once every couple of weeks, where you just have a date night. Yeah, you get a babysitter or nanny, whatever you have. Or the kids are old enough, they're okay on their own, where you two can actually have a date night where you can be flirtatious and dating and exciting and sensual and sexy, all those things that you may have forgotten to do because you had to take care of diapers for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Because
eventually those kids are going to leave, and it'd be nice if you liked each other along the way.
Yes, indeed.
So that's a really important part, that if your intention is to eventually get in a monogamous, committed, long-term relationship, married or not, living together or not, you want just one person and you want them to just want you, then you need to have your choices be that while you're dating.
Yeah.
Is this a person that I want to see again? That's the first thing. Do you want to see him a second time? Do you want to see him a third time? Do you want to see him a fourth time? And you keep asking things, and you keep being your authentic self, and you let them ask you things, so that as you get farther along and you say, yeah, I really do want to concentrate on you. I'm choosing you, and I want you to decide if you can choose me, given what we've learned about each other. So to get clear about what are the things that are important to you in your choosing process. What do you need them to keep doing and saying, to showing you who they are, that draws you in closer, that makes you want to be with them more, that encourages you to be even more your real self? I mean, that was the thing that, boy, I learned in spades with my late husband, because I felt little pieces of it, but never that much every time. And I said, I am never not going to do that, because it was so amazing to just keep saying, yeah, I really like that about you. Well, I really like that about you. And wow, I had never talked about that before or thought about that. Tell me more about that. Oh yeah, I like that too. I mean, it was this wonderful exploration, and I think that's what my friends, my relatives and my friends that have been married for so many years, they continue to do that with each other. And they did that when they both talked about how they did this when they first started dating. They would just talk and talk and talk about what was going on and what they were thinking about and what the other person thought about that, and what was next in their life. I mean, I just went riding this morning, and my friend I ride with and her husband are both 81, and he's now not going to coach wrestling anymore, because that's a real physical thing. He's going to mentor all these kids what they're going to do after high school, how to write resumes, how to go on interviews. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
I said, you always have this valuable stuff to provide, and you find the people that need it. And look at this extra zip it gives him in his life at 81. I mean, I keep saying I want to be them when I grow up. I mean, she's leaving to go to Africa for the third time. I mean, they really have very full living lives that they have consciously keep making choices. Because gosh, you could say, I really like doing wrestling, and I really am going to be sad to give it up. And I guess I can't do anything else. That I have never seen him do that. And I like that people keep going, what else can I choose? What else is better for me? With each person I meet as I'm dating, and I go, oh yeah, not for me. What would I like instead? What am I going to look for next time? What am I going to ask for next time? I was regaling Donna with the last 3 guys I had conversations with on the phone that were so not my guy. And I said, oh, even me who preaches this and has done this there were a couple things I needed to add to my, I have to have this.
Yeah.
I have to have this man who keeps wishing things were different in his professional life. He keeps wishing for 12 years. He's wished his business partner was different. And I said, but what would you do? What could you do? I mean, do you have an exit strategy? Because this sounds miserable. He goes, no, I just keep hoping she's going to change. I said, not my guy. And
No.
I thought I'd written that clearly. Obviously not. So I went back and wrote, somebody who is so conscious about when something isn't going to work. Because I want them to know that when we're dating, is there something about me that isn't going to work? Is there something who's going to be, which certainly that was. But I hadn't really written that as clearly as I learned talking to this guy. So I'm like, okay, I'm still learning too. We all keep learning. We all keep getting to refine our lists.
We do that, definitely, indeed. We'll talk more about that if we come back from the break, so we have a commercial to go to. So we'll dive into more about how you want to prepare for your dating choices too. So We'll be right back. I think we'll be back.
Yeah, maybe we cut it.
We're almost right. All good. So
we need a great commercial for this wonderful station that we're on.
Happens that way.
Paying better attention than me.
Well, so anyway, getting back to the conversation we were talking about, but really about getting clear about what you want up front. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at either. So I sometimes it is the opportunity where basically you use the bad choices you've seen to make better choice next time around. Not the recommended way. That's what we do. And as you said, we're both, even though we're teaching this stuff, we're still making our own learnings along the way. And it is what most people don't do, though, is they may write in their profile, longs on the beach, the cliche stuff, but what they really want, what's important to them, and also what is the positive thing? Because a lot of times people say, well, I don't want this. If you're a smoker, if you do this, if you're not monogamous, not interested, what is it you do want? Because the thing is, if you start focusing on what's not working, there's an old teaching in psychology about how if we say we don't want something, what our subconscious mind is attracted to is the something, not the not. So if you say you don't want a smoker, you start to attract smokers because that's the unconscious programming goes in. So what you want is somebody who doesn't smoke. So you want somebody who's healthy, who's vital, who enjoys fresh air, or whatever you're going to use for the phrasing sort of thing. You just watch what your languaging is that focuses your dating preferences and choices in the positive direction.
Yep. So now on my list is someone who's very conscious when something's not going right in their life and is very proactive about doing something about it. I'd never written it out specifically that way, and it is now on my list.
There you go. Exactly.
Because I am so that. I need somebody who's so that.
Yep.
And it was funny. I was telling I went to lunch with a girlfriend after I'd had that conversation, and I said, your husband would never do that. She goes, not for 5 minutes.
So now you got proof that that's true.
Oh, yeah. And my husband wouldn't have done it for 5 minutes either.
Right.
So to say, I don't think I assume men are like that. I was just so surprised. I think I needed to have something so big, 12 years of the same thing happening over and over. Christine, you need to write this down. This is not a subtle thing to you. This is a really big thing to you. Somebody who says, I'm going to notice when something's not working right away and do my best to do something about it. And when it can't be changed, I need to make a change. Yep. Okay, I got it now. It's written in ink. I do handwriting. I always write my list in handwriting because it feels so much more personal. So now it's on my list. And it's fascinating when you're out in the world and you are observing people and you say, gosh, I wonder why they're choosing that. Would I choose that? I mean, that's a really interesting way to look at life, to say, helps you get more clear in your choices. Gosh, I
Mhm.
can see why that works for them, wouldn't work for me. Or, wow, I see this thing keeps happening to them and how interesting they keep making that choice. Is there something in my life where I keep making a choice that's something that isn't working? And what should I do differently about that? We certainly
Right.
have those conversations with clients a lot.
Oh yeah. This whole piece is so vital. I know, I'm not sure it's true for men. I think it's true for both genders that sometimes we think we want to go dating, so we just jump into the app right away or jump into the dating arena right away without thinking about what our actions are. And this is a lesson I think for me that I've learned many times over about oftentimes when I want to do something independent of dating is, do I jump right in and do it, or is it better for me, which I'm now say yes to consider before I make the step? What am I going to benefit do? What's the purpose of this? What is the benefit I want to have? What am I looking for? What doesn't work? So I know when I go into it, I have the right choice and right alignment to it. And sometimes, I mean, like for example, just totally different topic, but the volunteer stuff I've been doing for the last 8 months, 9 months, that was actually a happenstance that a friend of mine invited to do it. But the way he's somebody I trusted, first of all, so that's one key thing, was trusting up front. Secondly, I felt like I didn't have to connect or commit to it until I checked it out.
Mhm.
And so I did go there and found it was absolutely exactly what I wanted to do, and it fit everything I wanted to be about. And so I've done it every Saturday since. And that's something I found aligned. So it's definitely good to have either external or internal guidance to navigate going through this process for dating, especially getting back onto that topic. And so oftentimes it's good to, as you said, like making that list up front is a starting point to build from. And the thing is, it isn't procrastination. We're just going to say, well, I'm going to keep writing the list forever and ever and ever and never start dating. It's like, no, write down some priorities right now that you think are important and then see what happens. As you said, like you got some conversations with some of these men where one of them didn't have one of the key things you wanted that now goes on the list.
Mhm.
So when he was going through this, it's like your list will keep evolving. It's okay if it doesn't start perfectly, you know?
Yes, so many good points. And I want to emphasize at this moment the word effective. So, what does effective mean to you? Because I've said a lot that people say, oh, I really want to be in a relationship and I really don't want to date. And so they think every date should lead to a relationship and they can
Yeah.
stop dating. Well, that doesn't usually happen. And even if my first time I met my late husband, I didn't know that was going to turn into a husband. I had no idea that first date. I just thought, I really want to see him the second time. So if you think about like even your volunteer choices and my volunteer choices,
Yeah.
what's your goal? Because generally effective means you're reaching a goal. If
Yeah.
your choices are effective, it means you're getting from here to here and you're happy with the result. So that's what I did too. When I looked for a new place to volunteer for horses, I read all about it. I read the testimonies, and then I went down for the day. I was there for a while to just watch their program and see the horses and stuff. Yeah. And it's close, and I like the people. I like the energy. And so I felt like I could choose this because it had so many of the elements that I really want to have in my life.
Elements. Yeah.
I don't know where that came from. Donna's going to see elephants in Africa. Maybe that's where it came from.
Maybe.
So, and then I love every time I'm there. It's, I feel like, oh, is it horse day that I get to go? So today I'm going to go hang out with the horses again. And it makes me feel like I'm getting and giving. I think that's a really important choice too, whether you're doing it for volunteering, for friends, for a job, or for dating. What do you feel like you're getting from being there? And sometimes it's just the knowledge of, oh, I didn't really realize I hadn't put that on the list yet. Okay, now I need to know to put that on the list.
Yeah.
And then the next time you like, oh, look, it showed up because I put it on the list. Now I have this thing that's really important to me. So being really conscious about the choices that you're making and not give yourself a hard time if it doesn't work out, because you're like, well, did I not ask enough questions? Was I not clear about it? Did I want to try the old way one more time? I mean, we all get that. We
Right.
really, are you sure it's not going to work? Boy, this one's really cute. I'm going to see if it works this time. Often it doesn't. So conscious choices, I think, are really important in order to get to whatever your effective goal is.
Absolutely. And that's
Yeah.
for me is it's, I mean, let's put it this way. Dating is something that does require presence of mind, does require commitment to yourself. It does require putting effort into this process, because if you're really dating not just to have flings or just to meet people, but you're actually looking forward to a long-term relationship, when you want to invest some of your time, effort, and energy into having the right choices made. So this effectiveness that you're talking about, the term effective, is, and this is interesting to watch because I see people who date and nothing changes. So effectiveness also means that things are going to change, things are going to evolve, things are going to move towards the goal you want. Because, yeah, as you said, if you have a goal in mind, if you are taking the same step and not progressing, you take a step in a day, it doesn't work. On somebody else, same step doesn't work. Are you actually being effective in that? Are you refining your list? Are you clarifying your choices? Are you telling your matchmaker, if you're working with a matchmaker, what isn't working so you know what you want? It's fundamental that it isn't a Russian roulette game. We just keep rolling the dice and guessing and hoping and praying. It's like, no, it's actually kind of progressing towards a goal that you have in mind to take action steps towards that place. Because that's what you want is, and yes, it could happen possibly the first time, but don't bank on it.
No, because even if it happens the first time, you still need to get to know each other.
Yes.
You still need to see, do they have the things that you want to choose? Do you have the things that they want to choose? Because I keep getting even more and more clear about what I want to choose, I want to keep finding out, are they clear about what they want to choose? So the latest adventure I'm in right now is this woman contacted me who's too young to come to my Monday night thing, but that's how she reached out to me, because it's through Meetup. She does speed dating in a number of different places in Orange County. And she wanted to know if I wanted to coach them. And at first we thought about me coaching them before the speed dating thing, but it's on a night that I volunteer. And now what I'm doing is I'm doing it the night before, which is really working on the phone, which is really working out well, because then they have 24 hours to get comfortable with the questions. And what's so amazing is every one of them I've coached so far, because we've only done this for 2 times now. I never thought about asking a question this way to find out this is what I really need. And I said, and the point of doing it isn't just to get a number, get a match, because it's nice if that happens, because it has to be 2 yeses. What you're doing is you're honing your skills of what do I need and want, and asking somebody about it. And especially the guys, they're so precious, because she does them in age chunks. So these people are all under 50 that I'm coaching at the moment. And they're like, so am I supposed to ask her what her favorite color is? I'm afraid about offending her. I mean, they're so lovely about wanting to do the right thing. You guys want to do you don't want to look stupid, which is why I decided to coach one-on-one, because she said, well, you could do a whole group. And that didn't feel as effective for me. It's only half an hour. They're paying me a tiny bit. I'm happy to do it. And what's really been fun is to get, well, tell me all the things that you're passionate about in your life that you want a partner. Tell me things you want to tell them about that they don't have to be part of, and tell me the things you want them to be part of. And we crafted questions. And I said, and you get a whole bunch of women to practice with, just practice. And because it's hard for them because the women are cute, I said, and so what I did is I did the mental, emotional, physical, even though physical is the first thing for men. I said, you have to think about how they think, and you have to think about how they feel about stuff. And you have to see how they feel about you feeling and about you thinking. And they're like, so I get to hear, they all did it last night, the latest ones I coached. So they're going to let me know today and tomorrow how it went. Because, I have to tell you, Barry, it was the most fun. I had so much fun doing this with them. I had 3 in a row, and they were just so receptive and excited. And I feel like I'm planting these amazing seeds for them to feel even more confident and successful when they're out meeting women. Because, we talked about all the other ways they could meet them, not just speed dating, but look how many women they get to practice with all at once. She doesn't do one for people over 70. So I told her she has to do that, because my group is 60 and 70-year-olds. There's a few 50 in my group, but she doesn't even often do things over 50. So I said, you need to do my age group. This would be good, because then I can coach them too. But I have to tell you, it was so much fun, because it was so around this. Right. What questions are you choosing to ask? Is it going to get you the answers you need to know? Do you want to spend more time with this person? Because there's some deal breaker things, if they don't have the same religious or the same political, if this is really important to you, or the same activity level, or the same commitment to family, or ability to, have discretionary income. I mean, there's so many things that really have to be yes or no. It doesn't matter anything else. If these couple of things you don't match up on, then what's the point of saying yes, even if they're cute?
Absolutely. I mean, I love that whole thing. I mean, I wouldn't mind someone reaching out to me to do the same thing because it sounds so much fun you're having.
Well, do it in LA. Find somebody that's doing it in LA.
Yeah, so there's reaching out. That is, I mean, because I love the fact what's happening is it isn't just a speed dating organization. It's a speed dating with coaching, and you're giving such a gift and such a service to these individuals, so that the likelihood of finding the right match or being clear about what doesn't work is so much heightened because you've given them great questions to ask and great perspective to come in with. So I love that.
Yeah.
The thing I was just reflecting on is about that compatibility and the chemistry thing we talked about earlier. Is there are a couple of women I know who I absolutely they're like drop dead gorgeous to me. I mean, in a heartbeat, no problem, except for the fact it's only physical. One of them is spiritual too, but their political choices and the way they talk about things is so against the way I feel that I couldn't get over that, no matter how attractive and sexy they are.
I know.
And that's the thing is, and I don't think it's true of all men, because some men can get over everything just for the fact there's good chemistry, But I know for myself, and I think for a lot of men out there, that chemistry can be almost like kind of rose-tinted glasses for women. It's like we have the same thing where we get such laser focused we don't see all the other stuff that's going on. That's like the landmines along the way. And so having clarity about what you really want, what is really important to you, and for me, I know what's important to me. It's a mutual understanding way of being that has to be part of the conversation. So it's not just, oh, she's sexy and cute, but she's also smart, savvy, and we have a conversation that's really compatible. Because that is such an important thing, and it's challenging because for us men, because we are visually driven, that sometimes we forget everything else because she's got a great figure, or she smiles the way she smiles. Like that's great, and it's just that's really, to be blunt, the calling card. It's the first step, but not the last step.
Yeah. Yes, for women, I tell them you can't not like how they look. There can't be something about them that's a problem. Like some women don't like bald, some women don't like beards, some women only want beards, only want hair. I mean, really, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And if you have a thing, right now it's teeth. That's the big thing. Everybody's talking about teeth. Okay. If teeth is your thing, they don't want to kiss them if they don't have good teeth. Okay, I get that. Then don't anybody. And as long as they don't have that, and maybe they're not exactly your type, and if you have this great conversation, for women, I'm starting with women, then keep going out with them. Right. And for men, you have to think they're sexy. You have to think they're desirable. You have to want a picture. You want to see them naked. I'm okay with that. But I was really pushy, and they let me be pushy about the first thing you're going to talk about when you're sitting across this person who is so pretty is, and we came up with each person had these really different things that were important to them. So we came up with great ways to find out, do they think alike? And great ways of where their hearts are. And these guys were so revealing. And I said, and for the woman you want, you keep telling me about the woman you want, you're going to need to do a little of this revealing. Nobody does everything all the time. Show this part of you a little bit. Talk about this is who you are, and then ask them who they are. I said, nobody does it that way in speed dating. Now, I've listened how it goes. And sometimes people meet, she tells me some people meet, and then lots of times it fizzles out fast because they just thought each other was cute because they didn't know to ask these questions. So if you find somebody that's really fun to look at and you like how they think and you like how they feel about the world, it's amazing. Amazing. But how do you know if you don't know the questions to ask? And none of it's intrusive. None of it's big interviewing thing. It was just, this is how I feel about this. And this is what's important to me in my life. And tell me about yours. And I said, and it doesn't have to be exactly the same. They just have to have the same heart. They have to have the same level of wanting to communicate with you. The same level of, one of them so philosophical. I said, you are so grown up past your years that you need somebody that can talk a little deeper, a little more mature. And so it was a blast. It was so much fun to talk in this very different way in this really short amount of time. I'm so excited to hear how it went.
Oh, this sounds exciting.
So you might look for somebody in LA that's doing the same thing and offer to do it. And the other thing, 2 of the people said, I really want to talk to you more. I can see the value. So I think they're going to turn into clients, which is a bonus. I mean, I'm doing it just to give my heart and help this. But if they turn into clients too, how great is that?
Absolutely. And that's the thing is, in a lot of ways in the work we do, I mean, let's make it simple. When we're also inviting clients, we're kind of dating them as well. We're just getting to know if that's what I want to work with and they want to work with us. So not only talking about the dating world out there, but also for coaching clients for ourselves. That's part of the thing, is that we want to be with clients we want to work with, not just anybody, because frankly, some clients I don't want to work with. So finding compatibility there is just the same. So this conversation about how effective our dating choice is, it's almost the same thing about how you meet people in the world. But again, back to principles, because we want to make sure I get this out before we finish the show, is where do you start from? Do you start from a place of owning who you are? This is a piece I want to get really clear as well, that you value your own time. So you're not desperate to meet somebody so you don't feel lonely, but you're actually looking for someone to add to your life. Because most people, unfortunately, have been looked at dating as a missing piece of their life versus an add-on to what they're already doing. And I'm passionate about people really owning their own life, their own space, their own way of being, so that when they meet somebody, it's something they will look to add to that, not to replace something you think they're missing.
And to add on to that, I mean, certainly loving somebody and being loved back is a human need.
Yes.
It's a human need. And it's something that we can't do for ourselves in the same way a partner can. That's really true too. So if you can fulfill a lot of the other parts of your life, you have friends, you have people that you've at least chosen to be like family, you have activities that you love, you know how to give yourself rest and nourishment, you know how much extroverted time and introverted time you need, you do enough emotional activity and mental activity for you, then yes, it will make your life better. And there is this piece that you can't give yourself. It can't start there. That's what you are so emphasizing. It cannot start with putting somebody else in your life to make everything better. You need to have all those other pieces in place. And then when that person comes, there is kind of this, oh yeah, now we can do this together. Now we're stronger together. Now we're on the same page together. And it is something that is an addition, that no matter how great your life is, if you really want a partner, it is a necessary piece that you can't do yourself. And as Barry was so clearly said, and I'm going to say again, you need to do everything else first. Yeah. You can't come with this big hole expecting somebody to fill it up. Because once you filled all the other holes, this person will fill that very specific hole. It's a hole. It's okay. It's a need. Mm-hmm. And then it all just kind of clicks together. But if those other places are not filled, there's nobody that can ever fill all the other things. They just can't. That's too much to ask of anybody.
It's such a, unfortunately, dysfunctional place to be. And a lot of people do that. And there's also some people are waiting until they meet somebody to do their life anyway. So again, this is a reminder, get on with your life and then meet someone along the way. So much healthier way of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Live your life.
Yes.
And you know the saying where people say, I met somebody because I stopped looking. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to think about it, that you're living your life, you're enhancing your life, you're making friends, you're joining activities, you're doing things that get you out in the world as much as you're comfortable with, and doing things that enhance you and make you more interesting and happier inside. Generally, that can definitely be the impetus that somebody will just show up, and they might have shown up before, and if you weren't in a good place, you wouldn't have been attracted to them. They wouldn't have been attracted to you. So this is another incentive, is to enhance your life in ways that make you feel good, make you feel better, make you feel productive, that you now will be in the space, literally and figuratively, the internal space and the external space, to have people come up that could turn into a relationship for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we're giving some good tips.
How effective have been your dating choices when you're listening to this or watching it? Barry and I are here to help you hone them, hone that skill, help you pick better, help you do better things for yourself, to get yourself ready. Because so if it's not working and you're listening to this, we can help you fix that.
Absolutely.
That's our job. We do that all day long, every day. So if you'd like to get a hold of me to talk to me about this, the best way is through my website, which is www.theperfectcatch.com. You click on what's holding you back from love. Isn't that appropriate for this title today? You fill out a questionnaire. There's 10 questions. Then you'll have access to my online calendar. You can make a free conversation with me at your leisure. You can also send me an email at christine@theperfectcatch.com. And you can also join my mailing list through my website to get a repeat of this podcast to share with your friends, as well as find out what I'm doing in my life right now. I'm talking about the speed dating. And then also at the bottom of my homepage, you can click on all my social media of Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and Pinterest and Twitter and Instagram. Did I do them all? Yes.
Nicely done. At least you're getting tightly honed in now.
Thank you. I've been practicing. So
Indeed.
Barry, tell them how to get a hold of you.
So similarly to Christine, I have a website and a few other things as well. So if you go to my website, which is barryselby.com, my name, easy to find. On the homepage at the top of the screen, there is a link to take your next step, which is basically to book a consult with me. Same idea. There's a questionnaire and it's scheduled in my calendar. So you can there's a calendar you can get scheduled on so we can have a conversation. At the bottom of the home screen is a link to join my email list where you can opt in and then get the replays of this show and other things I do as well. So both choices are available. So frankly, sign up for both. We do our things. Also on my website, there is a quiz because we're talking about being ready for a relationship and how effective your dating choices. I have a quiz that I created, which is a relationship readiness assessment. And if you go to barryselby.com/quiz, that will give you the opportunity to answer some key questions that will really navigate where you are and where you want to go. And frankly, if you're not getting 9s on all of them, we can talk. So again, there'll be a link to talk to me as well. Social media wise, my name is my name is my handle on all different platforms except for Instagram, which I'll get to. But basically on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, Twitter, X, which I'm not really using anymore for different reasons. And Pinterest, it's Barry Selby. If you want to go look at me on Instagram or Threads, it's the real Barry Selby. And I have lots of stuff on YouTube. I've got all these videos plus a bunch more that I've done over the years. So follow us both. We have lots of good content to teach.
Yes. And we're always here every week on Thursday at 1 o'clock Pacific and 4 o'clock Eastern. So you can watch us live and make comments or ask us questions. You can also find us on Roku and Apple TV if you want to watch us. And then you can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you want to take us with you when you're going shopping or working out or walking. And share this with your friends too, the ones that you know are having challenges with their dating.
Oh, absolutely. The more the merrier.
Yes. And we will look forward to seeing you again next Thursday.
1 o'clock Pacific. We'll see you then.
Bye for now.
Bye.